welcome to the very first show of Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness. My name is Darren Bodecker. Thank you for watching this. Let me tell you a bit about myself. I'm an ex-teacher. I'm an ex-comic. I'm an ex-army guy. I've lived in Spain for 4 years. I lived in Korea for a year. I've got a lot of life experience, a lot of stories. I'm a storyteller too. I've done the Moth a few times even. Did good. Yes, so I know a lot of people and now that everybody's in, I can talk to anybody I want to. And not only that, but in this time, I've been doing a podcast for 6 years. And I record people, and I've been going to their houses and talking to them. I did over 100 people. I got like 150 different podcasts. And the madness part of it is I haven't published one of them. So anyways, this is a long road that I've been traveling, and this is this show. So this show, just think of it like it's like getting on a mental canoe, and we're going to go out to the middle of the ocean of madness that is life, and we're going to dive deep and try and fish up wisdom to nourish our minds as we get to the other side. So it's almost time for the show. We got 1 minute, and let's get it started with my very first guest. It's a guy I haven't talked to in 24 years. I used to do stand-up with this guy back in the 90s in Chicago. And his name is Obediah Thomas. Now, Obediah, he's very, very entertaining. Like, he's a super entertaining guy. As a matter of fact, Obediah is so entertaining that one time, aliens literally broke the fifth directive, came down to the earth, and went up to him and got a selfie with him because he was so interesting looking and amazing. And that was totally, I swear to God that happened. There's actual evidence. I have evidence of this. I do. I'll just pull it up right here. So anyway, this alien right here came down from outer space when he saw Obediah. Like, Obediah was like, oh, God. And so that guy, he came down and he's like, just came right up to him. He was like,
oh, look at you. What a specimen. I've never seen a human quite like you. Wow, how entertaining you are. May I get a selfie? You are such a specimen. Oh boy, if it were 20 years ago, I would have gave you such a probing. But it is 2020 and I am woke. So, just a selfie, but I will admit to you, my probe finger is getting itchy. Oh, what is your name, sir?
and of course he was like, oh, Obediah. And then, he did a show, and then those guys left. But that's the only real picture that they have. They sent him they sent it to, I guess he got a copy. Anyways, so Obediah Thomas, are you ready? Let's suit up for this thing and see if we can find some wisdom. But definitely, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be funny, and hopefully, it's going to be enlightening. And that's my mission statement, is to make it interesting, funny, and enlightening, and everything in between. And to go deep, because I do go deep. I will go deep. I will give you a warning before you started. I have ADHD, and I use my superpower of hyperfocus, and I go deep. Like, I'll jump off that boat and go deep in the ocean. Deep. Like Costner, like Kevin Costner in Waterworld. Like, go way down there looking for stuff while somebody is on the surface taking my fruit off my little tree. And then I'll come up there, and then I'll get my catamaran. I'll grab my fruit back and get away before the smokers kill us. Oh, them smokers. Oh, so environmentally unfriendly in Waterworld. Anyways, this is Obediah right here. And I'm going to be talking to him, and I haven't talked to him for 24 years. And I am very interested to see what is going on in the world now with him. So this is the first show. Enjoy the show. Thank you. Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness. You can email me. Hold on. I know what I did wrong. It's one tech. Say hi again.
Hello?
Ah, yes. Ta-da! That was our first technical hiccup. Trying to get him out of the way.
Out of the way.
Yeah, he's out of the
How are
way.
you, man?
Good.
to
How are
see
you? Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you. Look at our faces. Aren't they different from the last time we pretty much saw them?
Oh my God. What was that? I've been in LA now for over 20 years.
20 years.
20. I came in when I was 30, so it's that'd be 24 years now.
So I haven't seen you in 24 years, technically.
Yeah.
Face to face. We no hugs in those times. No making out like we used to do. None of that, right?
No.
There was none. Oh yeah, and like look at our faces, aren't they? Look at how different. You know what I mean? You look at a picture like, oh, look at that guy. Look at how young and fresh.
Yeah.
He wasn't paying attention to his skin freshness.
Yeah, it's wisdom and experience that has carved itself into our skin in
and then the
a
food.
beautiful way.
We used to be able to eat like whatever we pretty much wanted and it wouldn't show. And now we're eating like, uh-oh, this could get my heart going. I better calm this down.
You were a skinny rail back then, I remember.
Yes, I was.
Tall, lanky thing.
So I back in my days of my prime, I guess that would be our primes, right? Or our prime of life, we should say. I was I was rocking about 195, 6'6", and I just maintained that weight. I could eat anything, all the time, every day, and still I would be 195 pounds, like year to year to year to year to year. Like I could pretty much guess it on the pound. It was 195. Oh yeah, 194. Oh, I'm losing weight, you know. So, but now it's like you wake up and like, oh shit, I am 237. Oh crap. Uh-oh. I was running 195
Yeah, I got this big dad bod going on here, and I'm like, oh, go to the beach. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna wear a t-shirt at the beach now.
Oh. Dude, so I went on this canoe trip with a bunch of comedians, and I remember I wanted to get a shirt that was kind of tight on me, you know, like one of those athletic kind of that they put and make their muscles all stand out and everything, right? Yeah. So, of course, my mind's not thinking really well. So I just get a large, and I am clearly a double XL if I'm going to wear one of those things. But I get a large, right? And I put it on, man, and it was, because I was also going to the gym, but I'm still 200. And like, I was basically pushing 240 at that point, and I'm wearing this. Oh my God, the Nike thing stretched so much it looked like it looked like just a, I don't know what, like a paint mark slashed across me.
And just the day before, you were looking at that woman who had the tights on that shouldn't have the yoga pants on in public. You're like, how could she go out like that? And then you look down, I was like, oh crap, I'm one of them. I've joined them.
Yes, but at least I was aware. Because I was forced to wear this shirt because I, paid $20 fucking for this thing. This is the morning of the canoe trip, like at at this miraculous mini mart that just happened to have a sports shirt. Or actually, no, we stopped at Walmart on the way or something like that. And got one. So I just got a black, like this.
It's so slimming though.
And it's that material that really is uncomfortable. It's like, no, you're staying tight, bro. You're staying tight. So my belly was like big, and it was tightening it, but it was really shining a light on my belly. It was like, wow, you really accentuate where all the weight's been going. I think if I was a scientist, I would look there to see maybe if that was the origination of all this weight. But anyways, I had a nice belly, and it was shiny, it's one of those shiny. So I'm glistening with a, like basic pot belly in a canoe. My whole 195 pound for like 20 years, thinking still in there, but not really ready for the weight. And it was after that moment, then I was like, I got to stop eating sugar. I'm going to go to the gym more. I got to do more cardio. That whole thing.
I cut out sugar for 2 full years, and that was amazing, man. The weight just dropped off me for the first 2 months, and dropped a good 15 pounds, I think. And then it just stopped. So 15 pounds of my weight was sugar.
Wow.
And then I dropped down, and I was hoping that and sugar was going to give me all this energy and, make me more productive and all this other stuff.
Right.
No, didn't do that. I lost some weight.
Yeah,
looked a little bit better. Not so flabby around here, but all the other stuff. And then COVID comes along, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have a milkshake. So I gave up on that on March 13th. It's like, nope, this sucks. I'm eating. So I've
was that
put
your
on
line?
some COVID pounds.
Was that your line that you crossed? That was your line that you crossed?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
That's funny.
And, March 12th. I was doing a gig on March 12th, and then and there was rumblings about places saying, well, we don't know if we can do this or not. And then the 13th came, and just all my gigs just fell like dominoes. Everybody's calling and canceling. It's like, oh God.
So how many gigs were you doing a year up to that point? Like basically, estimate.
The gigs I was doing. Because right now I'm doing mostly school assemblies for elementary schools.
Oh,
and
shoot.
I was performing about 180, 190 schools, and then about 2 shows per school. So that's 300, close to 400 shows in a year. And then and that's just the school shows. And then over the summer, do some juggling gigs and some stilt walking things here and there, blah, blah, blah. But so
all right.
That's where I was at.
Well, let's go.
The best year ever, and then just nothing.
Let's go back just a touch. What exactly what is it you do?
Oh yeah, so I have a partner. His name is Mark Beckwith, and we started this company called Razzle Bam Boom, and we do school assemblies, and we take a topic that the schools want to share with the entire school. Not like math or science, but like
abortion
or bullies
or death.
Death. Yeah, we want to talk to the kids about death and accept death. No.
Yeah, you don't go in there in skeleton costumes. Hey, everybody, this is what we all look like when we're dead. Yeah.
So we have yes to success, and we've got one. The Stop, Think, Act show, which is about social emotional learning and things like that. We put songs to it and comedy to it, and and that's what's booking.
Give me an example of one of your favorite
shows. Is that we'll have the schools have about 600 kids per school. We do 2 shows there.
Okay.
So it's like a sold out audience of 300 and another sold out audience of 300, and then I'm home by noon on a Monday. And I remember doing stand-up comedy clubs, and the whole week I'd be lucky if there was 600 people at the club.
Yeah.
For the entire week, working a midnight show on Saturday for 12 people in the audience there. Jeez. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so and you were doing 400 shows, so now it's all gone. So what now are you able to corral in these moments?
Well, right now we have completely shifted our gears, and we are creating videos for the schools so that they can play them to the kids over for the distance learning, they call it, as they're learning from home.
Right.
You have kids, Darren?
I do. I have one daughter.
15. How old is she? 15 years old. So she's doing the distance learning, I assume.
Yes. Yeah, for at least the first 2 months.
She is out of our target market, but we're aiming at the elementary kids. So our goal is to make 180 videos that are about 90 seconds, 2 minutes long. And again, it's all these topics that we do, like kindness and friendship. We write little skits. We got some puppets in there. We do some songs, and we're getting it out there. We have some sponsors for us, so we're already making some money for the upcoming school year.
Right.
And we're also going to try to sell some things directly to teachers and schools across the country, which it's exciting now because we're kind of like TV stars. We're making videos and we're writing skits and have shoot days and editing and all this stuff. So it's kind of like a TV star, which is something I wanted to do when I came to LA.
Right.
Get into TV and get into movies, and that didn't really happen like I wanted it to. But now all of a sudden, 24 years later, we're making these videos, and I'm really proud of the progress we're having on that.
Right.
Our big release date is going to be August 15th, and that's when we're going to be making this available to the entire public.
Wow. How many of the 180 have you done so far?
We have 40 in the can.
You've done
right
40.
Now.
So
40,
that would be one every 3 or 4 days you're able to produce, or you do them back to back to back in one
we
shot?
try to film about 5 at a time.
5 at a time.
2 minutes long, so it takes about a half an hour to shoot one of these 2-minute scenes there. And then it goes back, and Mark does all the editing, and that takes another week or so. And while he's editing, I'm writing some scripts. We're going over scripts to shoot for the next week. So trying to do 5 every week to keep on track.
Right.
And we're doing 5 shoots in one day.
All right. So let me ask you this, going a little deeper. How are you getting your material? In other words, source material, or like, how are you getting your information that you are going to be presented? So what's your homework? Really?
Yeah, the homework is studying what teachers and administrators are studying and needing. So they have a thing called PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Integration System, I think, and it basically just talks about a lot of things, a lot of problems that kids are having at school, which can lead to behavior problems, which they want to solve. And part of that is bullies, and part of that is kids disrupting things. Like one of the episodes is just sometimes kids will just stand up from their desk and walk over and sharpen their pencil while the teacher is talking, and the teacher doesn't want to stop and correct this kid, and the kid just never knew that you just can't get up whenever you want to.
Okay.
You sit in your seat certain times, and so we might do a funny little skit about that one very specific thing. Don't get up out of your seat when the teacher is talking, and the kids play that, and hopefully they're going to learn from that.
How do you stage it? In other words, when you're filming it, is it one of you pretending to be the student, or do you actually get it's like, when I'm watching this, am I watching is it like a commercial? It's an information thing?
It's like a mini scene from Sesame Street. We're definitely influenced by that.
Right.
We have puppets. Pewee the pig is one of the puppets there.
Okay.
And he's really cute, but he's 5 years old.
Okay.
Mentality wise, we never say how old he is, but his mentality is like a 5-year-old.
So you're playing to like 8 or 9 year olds?
Yeah.
Okay.
10. 10. So okay. Elementary school would be from 5 until even 11 or 12.
Okay.
So this pig is always doing things wrong, and I'm the straight man. I'm the very serious, straightforward guy, and I'm always corrected him, and he's being silly. So the kids look at him and say, "Oh yeah, that's the kid, and he's doing it wrong, and this guy's telling him right." So I'm not lecturing to the kids watching at home. I'm lecturing to the pig.
Right.
The pig takes on my ideas, and the kids hopefully imitate the correct behavior.
Right.
By the end of it.
Yeah, you don't do like the 50s where they would look into the camera, and this means you will die if you don't.
None of that.
You in the child in the third row in the back.
And we're doing some of it in green screen, and some of it we're doing out on locations.
Awesome.
It's fun. We go out to like a national park here, and put the puppet behind a tree, and then I come up talking to the puppet, and we're trying to edit. We're trying to do all the fun YouTube edits with graphics and bells and whistles and cutaways and stock footage and all that stuff to make it hip and new and cool.
All right.
We got Mark's son. He's younger. He's like 30.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's young, but he has some grasp of what the kids are into these days. So we're relying on him for the hip factor.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now that you have this, okay. So here's the piece that's personal dear to my heart is the bullying piece because I was just a bullied kid when I was growing up. So
Even as tall as you were bullied.
yeah,
Or were
I
you
mean
bullied
almost
because you were tall?
worse, almost worse because my situation was all right. So I think shyness for me was just a kind of a natural condition. The way my
Yeah.
mind or the way the chemicals in my brain react to situations, shyness is where I
Yeah.
go. And also, my mom was ADHD, so she was off doing her thing. So I was kind of feral for the first 5 years. There was no brother, sister. It was just me. And, they'd feed me. Dad would be working hard all the time, so I'd barely see him. Spent a whole year in Saigon during that time. And mom was at home, and then we'd move basically every year and a half. And it was always at an improper moment. Like usually November was the time I'd come into a different school where kids had known everybody for at least 2 months before I get there. Then all of a sudden I'm super tall, right? Got total white hair, but super shy. So the first thing that happens, the MO is playground. And so I go out to the playground. And of course, the first person who approaches me is the school's bully, but he's acting nice. So all of a sudden, it's like, and I want somebody to be nice to me, and I can't wait for somebody to be nice to me. So and I'm eager. So he will befriend me quickly. Hey, you're brand new. Where are you from? Like, oh yeah, hi. I'm Darren. Whatever I did, and then of course. Within 2 days, the screws would turn. He'd be standing in front of him. One of his buddies would be on his knees behind him. He'd shove me over, and I'd basically get the wind knocked out of me because I'm so tall. And I had my legs out from under me, and so I'd be donkey wailing, and kids would be laughing. And then the next day, he would push me, and then the next day, they would hit me in some way physically, and then I would cry all those times, and then they would leave me alone, and then the people who wanted to be bullies would start coming around, seeing where they could test their boundaries with me.
Yeah.
And my reaction was terrible. I didn't fight back. I usually just curled up in a ball and just would start crying. That was my big thing. It worked for me one time. One time, it was the first day, this kid, he pushes me over, I hit my back, and I start crying, and luckily enough, his mom actually was this playground monitor, and wow. Right in front of me, she beat the hell out of him. I was like, wow, I wish I was that lady. They're so powerful. So yeah, it was in Spain. I remember second grade, and literally day one, he puts a leg sweep on me and pushes me. He was I was in a place called Torrejon Air Force Base, and it was a black kid, and he was you could just tell he was tough, and he came right up to me, said something, and he said something like, I'm gonna knock the daylights out of you. And I remember thinking, what does that mean? What are daylights?
I didn't even know I had daylights in me.
Figure he came right up to me, really like right away. Never happened before. So he does a leg sweep push, like just that quick and push, and so the same basic effect as the other people, having somebody behind me and shut me down or something. And I cry. I remember, it was so shocking. Like, he gave me such a shove and a leg sweep all at once. It was like the magic trick. I was like, how am I flying backwards? And I hit the end, I was crying. His mom, oh boy, she heard me crying, and then she came right over. She was yelling at him, and grabbed him, and then spanking and shaking and making him apologize and doing all, and I'm like, oh, this crying thing's awesome. It seemed to get but it didn't work. I finally quit when I was 14. I was like, I better stop crying. Crying's a bad thing.
That's like
Doesn't
then
help.
with women. It's like, well, there's this one thing I tried this one time and it worked, and then we do it every time. It's like, oh yeah, that doesn't work for any other woman. You were just lucky that one time.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. We're all messed up.
Yeah.
So my question is, so give me a description of your bully one. Do you remember that one?
Sure.
Can you
Yeah.
give me a little, pretend
Well, I
I'm
did a lot
blind
of
and you have to
research on
describe it.
the bully issue, and there's three people in the bully game. There's the victim, you.
Right.
There's the bully,
Right.
guy beating up on you, and there's the bystander, which would be the mom in that case. Very lucky to have her as a bystander, but
That was the anomaly.
In a school setting, mostly we're talking to the bystanders. The victims are too weak. The bullies don't even know they're bullies, and that's one thing you really got to remember. The bullies don't actually think of themselves as bullies. They don't say, well, I'm going to go do some bullying. No, they're just doing this aggressive behavior and trying to imitate whoever. Perhaps it's a father or an older brother, or even something they saw on TV, like the time somebody said, I'm going to knock the daylights out of you.
Right.
Obviously, if you heard that line someplace else. And,
Can I pause you right there? I'm
Sure.
sorry. But you're bringing up a memory and talking about the bullies don't know they're bullies and they're just doing what other people did. So I was in Spain from second to basically the latter part of 5th grade. So I had a few years there. It was one of my longer stays. So on my last year there, we were on basically into year 3, deep in, because my dad had a 4-year stay there, and then we moved to Massachusetts, which was my worst bullying experience. But I won't talk about that one. But I will say, I had then cultivated, I was weird and quirky, so I was kind of funny, but just doing weird things. So in Spain, I lived in a place called Canillejas, which is a suburb of Madrid, Spain. And the Air Force base is 30 miles away where I went to school. So a bus would pick us up, take us 30 miles away in Spain to Torrejon Air Force Base, go to school, then bus would bring us back home, walk back in by, 3:30 in the afternoon, whatever, 4 o'clock. So in that 3rd year, I got to know everybody. So the bus was on my side. The bus was friendly with me. Mm-hmm. Well, one day, in like frickin', once again, November or something, a new kid comes on the bus. And this kid, he's medium tall, and he's got totally blonde hair, and he's a new kid. And I remember I would sit at the back of the bus. This was, now I've, had my own thing. I was respected, and I decided to probe this kid. And now looking back on it, it was like me walking into the bus, and like that's how I do. That's what I put my head down. I don't make eye contact with anybody. I quickly try and grab whatever seat and just be quiet and don't respond. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I remember I went up to him, and I go and I sit next to him, and I talk to him, getting to know information about him for basically the 30-minute ride. It was from school. It wasn't to school because that's when I first just noticed him, but then from school. And then the next day, I taunted him in front of everybody. And then by like Wednesday, I'm going a little bit further. I throw like a piece of paper over there at him, but he won't respond. He kind of looks back, but kind of get that weird thing. And then by Thursday, I full out throw a piece of paper and I say dirty names to him, and I'm just real bad to him. And then by Friday, I push him in the seat, and I'm like, we're going to fight. We're fighting when the bus gets back. So we're now on a 30-mile, and we're going to fight. And the whole bus knows it. And there's about, 30 kids. So this is, Kanye had a lot of people. So 30 kids on this bus, and, 28 of them are with me, and I'm the bully who's bullying the one new kid this is his first week in school. And so we get off the bus. Classic, we all pretend everything's cool. The bus driver's just going to pull away. And then all of a sudden a circle forms. And it's me facing down the new kid. And the new kid's like me saying, I don't want to fight. I didn't do nothing to you. I'm sorry, whatever. You know, like all the excuses. Won't make eye contact. Really sheepish. No, I don't want to. And that made me more like all of those experiences that I'd had bullying for like since kindergarten plus.
Yeah.
And
how old are you at this point?
I'm so basically fifth, sixth grade, sixth grade, I think maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it was sixth grade. I was a little older I was born in January, so they put me in. So I was a little always behind.
Yeah.
Didn't graduate high school till I was 19. But that's because I had to do an extra year of high school. But anyways, so I remember, I like had been done to me, pushing, or saying words, come on, and then the pushing, you do it, and then start, and then all of a sudden, I don't know how, but all of a sudden we're in like a wrestling thing. I wasn't keen on the throwing the punch. I'd usually hit the ground and cry before anybody would punch. You know, so that was my move. Like, anticipate I'm crying like a worm, waiting for any moms to come and grab this kid. And so that's what I knew. And so then I guess in my mind, that's what I was hoping. He would just hit the ground like that. I would claim victory, and then I would be, held on the backs of 28 kids who loved me for being the king, and he didn't, and then we're wrestling, and then all of a sudden, but he's not really trying, and so I wrestle him onto the ground, and here's the line I crossed with this guy. I remember the line how far it got with me. I got his head on the ground, and I started rubbing the side of his face onto the concrete, and I remember I was rubbing, and I remember right as soon as the first time I did it, I remember when I moved my arms and I scraped his face like that.
Yeah.
I had this weird like empathy, like clearly knowing, wow, I would never want this done to me. This is a little far. You could really ruin somebody's face. Like all those little, whatever those thoughts were, I remember being creeped out by my own actions. And then I did it one more time, and then I let up on him. And he was in so much pain. Now he was fighting for his life since I'm basically trying to curb the guy. Yeah. This is way before any American History X or anything. I'm like, but I remember crossing that line, doing that. And then all of a sudden he's fighting full on now for it. So now he's got me. He's strong, I realize. Like, oh no. Because, I didn't do it too bad. It wasn't like gushing blood or anything, but there was a red mark. So anyways, oh man, he then does that, and then he strikes me like really like somewhere on the neck, shoulder thing, but really strikes me and is stronger than me. And as he's on me, he does that, and anticipating any more strikes, I go into the old, I'm being bullied now. And so then I start crying. That's my MO. With these people who were all idolizing me for, like, they know me. I've made them laugh for years. And now I'm doing my own fight. Like, what? And I was about to become king of the neighborhood. And then I burst out crying. I remember the booze.
Oh, God.
Boo! I was bullying this shy kid for a week, and now he's got me on the ground, and he just punched me on the side. I am bawling. And then he's like, I'm sorry, which makes it worse. And then I'm really crying like this, like it's those deep cries, like this. Embarrassing. Like, oh my God, like all... Whatever Superman I thought I was, I realized it was an illusion. And Oh man, I remember and people are like making comments. Good thing it wasn't Twitter and stuff. Like, oh, this is the worst. I just watched Darren go from bully to baby in 30 seconds. It's like, oh no.
Oh man,
It would have been horrible. I'm so glad they didn't have social media because it would have been. Everybody would be commenting.
Story, though.
Good for that bully to get his own. But what happened at the end? Just saying a little coda. We were the best friends for the next 7 months while I was there. The best friends, inseparable. His name was Ted Mike Malarchie.
Ted Mike Malarchie.
Yeah, he was, I think, Polish descent, but American for a couple of generations. But yeah, Malarchik. Yeah, Ted Mike Malarchik. That was his name. Yeah.
So what happened after he beats you up? You're crying.
Yeah.
He's saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry."
I'm sorry, and he keeps saying, "I'm sorry," as I'm weeping harder as I'm trying to walk away, and he's glomming on, saying, "I'm sorry," and I'm, I don't want to be mean to him because he might punch me, which is he's the bully. He was the bully all along, Darren. What were you doing? He was the bully. You weren't the bully. So. Oh man, the neighborhood. I was shunned for like weeks. He was the only one who would befriend me. It was like everybody.
Why do you think he became friends? How did you guys become friends? What was that moment?
I realized in him all the things in me. At first, I realized in him all the things in me I hated, but I think. Our friendship grew out of me realizing how much in common we have and how many cool things we could do together. And it was true. And we went on hiking trips and we saw gypsies. We went into camps. We hunted down toads. We went on railroad tracks together, put pennies on there. We walked like for miles on a day just to go in one direction. We went in, all kinds of things in Spain. So he was like my best friend, like inseparable.
Yeah, what a great story, man! You gotta put that down in a script somehow.
Yeah,
thing on film.
Just
in the book because it's got everything. It's got the highs and the lows, and the mirror reflection of somebody else who's just like you, and you hate the person because he's like you, and you want to do this so you get other people to like you by knocking somebody down, which is a very classic bully thing. Is that bullies want to build themselves up by knocking other people down, and we talk about if you're the leader and you can really raise people up, you'll have more respect for yourself and everybody will love you even more. But what a great story. And then the fact that you guys came back together after this,
like
this
the
thing,
best friend,
hated each other forever.
The fact that I know his name is how good of a friend he was from all those years, because I forget names. I was horrible at names.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at is while I was in that bully mode, looking back on it now, I was the bullied. I didn't, in my mind, I mean, I knew what I was doing was other things that had been done to me that I didn't like. Yeah. But I felt like I channeled all that stuff that they put into me, and they go, here's your chance to spend the ticket that we've, the pool to let that out, to try and drain this shame pool that you've been in for a long time. Or at least, and then also on another psychological level, he was like me. I saw those things, and immediately I hated him because I hated myself. So it was like me trying to beat my own self up in a weird way. It was like he was, and then all of a sudden it turned, and then I was, it wasn't. You're not beating up. You are getting yourself beat up. So it kind of came true in a weird way. All of a sudden, the illusion was over, and now reality happens, and I'm getting punched and crying with 28 people going, boo! Like, that was their first reaction, too. I remember just culmination of boo! Like little girls, boo! Yeah. Boo, this is terrible. This didn't work. This is not the Disney story we were hoping for.
Yeah. But in a way, it was the Disney story because the other guy was the hero. I mean, you thought you were going to be the hero, like every villain thinks they're going to be the hero. But the other guy, I mean, it's like that Rudy moment. He rises up, but he beats you down, They can see, you almost hear the slow clap as he walks away, or and you're begging for mercy. Just what a great reversal, like in any perfect movie, and that twist to it. Great story.
Well, just
so at least you got that out of it. You got a good story from it.
True. I'll tell you one Mike Malarchik story with me and him. I'll tell you two real quick. So we're in Spain, and of course we're friends now, and I might be messing with the months, but Halloween comes up, and in Spain they don't know about Halloween so much. They don't know about what we do. And so we went into this apartment complex, and me and Ted were dressed, I don't know what the heck we were, Frankenstein, so who knows. And we go into the apartment complex, we knock on doors, and Spanish ladies would open them up, and Spanish people and young people, whatever, and they would go, what is this? And they'd go, trick or treat. And then we'd have to explain trick, and then we didn't even know what the trick was. I was like, I don't know, this is a card trick. We have to give you a card trick. Or treat, you give us some food. And so I remember with this old lady, we come up, we knock on her door. She's really nice. She's like, like 80 Spanish. Sí, ¿qué es? Sucre, sí. And she's like, we explain to her what it is, in America, and we're dressed like this. And she's like, great. And so she goes away. She comes back. Whatever she did, she gave it to Ted, like a whole box of brand new chocolates, like those expensive kind, like with gold wrapping on it and everything. She gives him the whole box and says, thank you, and then closes the door, and we got a box of chocolates. Like, that was in one shot. We ended we didn't have to go explaining Halloween to people to try and get them. But yeah, it was... So we had that moment, and then another moment I remember. I was also being a bad boy, so I didn't get rid of all that bully meanness stuff. So I remember I was in kind of I didn't do well in class because I had ADD, but I didn't even know it back then. Nobody knew what that was. I was just flighty, and I remember being in after school, had to go to a class. She went to the bathroom, and I went in her purse and I stole. Basically, what was that? 40 pesetas is 40 cents. 40. Well, anyways, I stole $40 in Spanish money out of her purse. Two $20, $2.20. I can't remember the name. I'll edit it in. But all right, so I do that. That was at the end of the day, and then I went, and the next day go to school, and on our way back, I hatch a plan. Me and Ted are going to get off. What our daily ritual was, we get off the bus and we go to Ted's house because his mom was cool and she'd always have sandwich for us. Well, on this day, we get dropped off in front of this kind of a strip mall. It was like a little, in Spain, strip mall kind of thing, but it's bodega-y and dirt paths and all that. So we get dropped off in front of that, and I get ahead of Ted, weirdly, and then I go and I take one of the 20s and I put it under this old cabbage leaf that's been thrown off, with the garbage. And Ted rounds the corner, and then I pull up the gun. Wait. What I did was I planted it. He comes in and say, hey, let's look through this. It looks like a lot of cool stuff in here. And he's like, what? That's old vegetables. So we're looking through, and then I pull the $20. Look, I found $20 under the cards. And then we're like jumping for joy. And I know that I've stolen this thing, but I'm like, he's like really happy. And then we go and we tell his mom. She's super happy. We're going to go on a store adventure. We're going to go buy stuff. And she's like, yeah, make sure you... And she's giving us rules on, like, what to spend it on. And, you can only get so much candy. And, we're going to... So we go and do that. Well, that worked so awesome that day. It was one of the most beautiful days. Me and Ted, I was a hero again, So the next day, I decided to do the same exact thing. Go in front. He comes, I hide it. Hey, let's look again. Maybe look again. Again! Another 20! He's like, no way! What? And then we're all joyful, and he's like, this is impossible. Like, yeah, I know, it's correct. We're gonna we're rich. And so we go up to his mom. We did it. And I remember waiting for her joy and elation on her face. Like I'm going to give her joy. It was like a quick question mark went onto her face. Like, oh, like, why is she, well, like, uh-oh. And then all of a sudden I'm like, uh-oh, she's on to me. It's like, fuck, I shouldn't have put it under the same cabbage leaf. Who would have? Oh, man. And then and of course, like, and then she's like, really? All right, come. And then she has her sandwiches ready, and then she sits me down at the table, and we're like, yeah, we won. What are we going to get today? I don't know. Let's buy a car. I don't know what me and Ted were just getting. And then she basically looks at me, and she goes, so the same thing, huh? Where did you get that money? And I'm like, under the cabbage leaf. Like 2 days in a row, same cabbage leaf. So then she basically gets it out of me really quick because I'm not good with lies. I'm guilty.
Yeah.
And I confessed. And then I told her I stole it from the teacher. Then the teacher gets called. And then I'm at a conference. And oh, man. But it was great for that one day. But anyways, that's how dumb I was. It's the same cabbage leaf, same money, $40 from the teacher. She hasn't been saying anything for the last 2 days because she didn't, I guess, miss it. They're all rich. And, yeah, so we went through me and him went through some stuff. We had some good times, bad times. He was my buddy while we were there, though. Yeah. And just going back, I did not know that I was the bully. I did not feel that. You're right. The bully a lot of times doesn't know they're bullied because I would imagine they've been bullied to condition that way. And I'd have to believe usually it's probably whatever male figure is in their life that's dominant, whether that be an older brother or a father or a stepdad or whatever that is. I'm sure within that first 7 years it's kind of beaten into them, in a weird way.
They start off with a lot of sense of they don't have control of their life until they start bullying somebody else, and then they feel like they have control over their life because they're controlling somebody else's life because that's what happened to them, and it's about that gaining control. And I think a lot of people have to have a sympathy for the bully because of exactly that. I mean, when we're talking about, I've heard some parents are like, "Oh, my kid's a bully, and I hope that bully dies. I hope they throw him in jail. I hope he goes."
Oh, right.
Mistakes, and he's got to live with this bullying thing. And if he doesn't fix this bullying thing in the next few years, that's who he's going to become when he's an adult.
Yeah.
And he needs.
So how does it get called? Do you think? How do you reach the bully? Do you have to reach the parent, or is it already ingrained and it's just like, here's how to control yourself, bully, or here's why you're wrong, or at least have empathy enough? Because if you're dealing with a psychopath or a sociopath, I mean, I would argue, just going off, that I have like bully-dar. I do have a radar. Like I could spot a bully. Like, oh boy, that guy's gonna bully me. Oh boy, oh boy. So that from my young age, so I kind of carry that to this day. There's certain basic aspects that you can see bullies, and you can tone, and you can see posture, and you can see eye contact. So there's things that in this day where bullies are walking around, or grown-up bullies, and they're just throwing off a little bit of heat here and there, scanning for somebody who might be shy like myself. But now I have a defense where it seems like I'm, what? You're shy? But you're a comedian, and you talk to people, and how could that possibly be? And you said hi to me on first day of meeting. But deep down, I'm that kid who diverts his eyes. I don't know what they'll say to me. Yeah. Maybe they'll be mean. I don't know. So that thing. So this is years of conditioning has just made me like, oh man, I'm cool with everything. But
the facade we learn how to show everybody else, and it's a muscle you got to exercise. It's like I have to say hi. I have to learn their name. I have to shake hands and get to know people and not avert my eyes, and the whole time you're wrestling yourself with that shyness that you'd rather just be off in a corner.
So but bullying.
I remember thinking back at the comedy club when we're backstage and hanging out. It's like I could definitely see a shyness to you, and then on stage I could see that button you could throw, and you're just doing this fantastic material on stage, and then off stage be very quiet and reserved. And I think, I mean, if I can, I mean, if I'm remembering right, and I think some of your shyness actually came out more when you were around people you could trust, because you didn't have to put up such a facade around good friends. You
Right.
could just kind of be in the background and be kind of shy around them, and
Right.
and it was okay. And we just, that's Darren, that's who he is, and awesome. It was accepted. So I don't know.
I
That's
wrote
fine.
this down just off of what we were saying. I'm sure this is some. Would this statement be true then? Bullying, or a bully, is an injury unhealed.
Oh, that's deep. That's yeah. I think
So a bully,
that's very much deep.
it's because I don't believe. I mean, maybe there. Like I said, there's a certain segment that are literally psychopaths who have no. Like, I don't understand pain. Oh, that seems to make the only thing that makes me smile. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Do
Well,
you have that?
Yeah, psychopaths. I mean,
Other than a flawed condition, I would say most babies aren't born to be bullies. They're men, and they'll be aggressive and get their way. And I guess there could be some natural born bullies in the sense that they're overly aggressive, maybe high testosterone count or something potential. But I would say mostly it would be the nurture part of it, where you see these things, and then you just blindly act upon them. And hopefully you have enough intelligence to stop yourself to know that this is wrong what I'm doing. And so therefore I'm going to channel this a different way and take a different path, because the wisdom here is that, yeah, you could go through life being a bully and then become the president of the United States.
Yeah.
But what really connection to humans that you ultimately is the thing that we in our older age want to have? I mean, it's you get rid of that there's loneliness for a reason. You want to be connected with a family and all that, or whatever it is, just other humans, period.
Yeah.
And if you're a fucking bully, you don't have true friends. You have people who are afraid of you and cater to you, which I've seen from the bullies that would be strong, and the sub bullies that would be whatever you want to, so that bullshit. But if you truly can figure that out and go the other way, go the opposite way, what would I like?
Yeah, for a bully, yes, that very one-way thing, and it's never showing vulnerability. But friendship is about a two-way street, and you have to be vulnerable and allow yourself to show some weakness.
That's tough.
Show kindness to
That's
others.
tough.
And kindness is perceived as some kind of a weakness for some people. It's like, if you're kind to others and you're weak, and we can't, the bully can't have that. In the assembly, I really hope that we're. I always say, I can't solve the bully problem at your school.
No. I mean, that's why I was asking, who do you ask, the bully? Or so, since you're focusing on the bystander, so you're focusing on the silent good guy.
Yeah, the silent good guy, and those 28 kids who are all watching this.
Yes.
Somebody could have stood up and said, no, fighting is not going to solve anything. You're going to get hurt. Someone's going to rub their face in the gravel, and then punches are going to be thrown.
They would have had to confront me to my face in that.
Yeah.
Because just going back in my memory to that moment when I was really getting puffer fished out, and looking all mean and scary, and then Friday built up, and I was like, I've already visualized he's going to hit the ground crying, and whatever that. I'll feel what all bullies feel when I got bullied. And if it builds to that far, you really need to, there needs to be, like a real, you gotta shock me back into my shoes, because I've already, I'm fantasized out in my brain. It's gotta happen because I'm gonna be the hero of the neighborhood, I gotta get that fantasy out of my head. And that's tough, because that energy that I was throwing out, it would be tough to stand up. You gotta be pretty strong and go, stop doing what you're doing. Otherwise, with the kids around, other than the bus driver who clearly he had a 30-mile drive, so he wasn't going to pull over the bus every 5 minutes because my ass was being a dick. And it was a big ass charter bus too. It was way down there. So, anyways,
Yeah.
it's tough to be a bystander. I mean, especially from me, it's tough to be like, what is a tough thing I could do that would also not get me, you know what I mean? I don't want to be exposed. I don't want it to come back at me. That kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
bystander, and then the bully just says, "Oh, okay, I'm going to fight you then." Instead of him, you just saved him, and now we're going to fight. How do you be a bystander, confront that without raising the stakes and creating more violence like that? And it's something that every person needs to work out, and it starts with having the conversation and realizing that bullying exists, and who are you? Are you the victim? Are you the bystander? And then hopefully, some of the kids out there might be saying, "Oh, some of that stuff I do might be perceived as bullying. Maybe I should change that." Not that they'll ever admit that they are a bully, but they might say, "Oh, I can see now how some people might think I'm being bullying here." One thing I tell the teachers, and this is a weird thing about bullying. This is a counterintuitive idea. Bullies actually tend to become leaders in life, and sometimes they lead through bullying, or sometimes they're just taking that aggressiveness and they're putting it into actually being a positive leader.
They turn it a different way. Like I said, you consciously use because there is a skill with bullying. I mean, you have to notice people. You have to read them. You have to size them up quickly. You need to know, I can do this, or at least I can say the right things, or whatever it is that can do that. And you got to be adept in all those situations. And also, I think you do have to have some epiphany, like by the time you hit puberty or something, going, seems to be wrong. Like, I need to have some intelligence here to be able to change my ways, but also use this. And I think we naturally just fall into those roles a lot of the times. People don't even know that they, like, for instance, I literally, my life was chaos at the end of high school, but all of a sudden I was at a 7-Eleven, an Army recruiter was there, and through kismet I joined the Army, and 2 weeks later I was getting my life together. So, and also what I want to say is that fight for me needed to happen with Ted, I think, naturally. There was no bystander that could have cured the fire that I'd already lit in my brain. Yeah. And what needed to happen was what nature took care of. So my question to you, and I know this is a controversial thing, but I do think that there is an element with the testosterone side of the human race that, like, I've heard some places where they'll, like, especially in military places, where they'll literally have a boxing ring, and so there's a beef, then you box it out, and you have to, in a way, you're doing person to person, you're being physical, and then when it's over, all is forgiven, and like ba ba ba, and it's kind of controlled, so nobody's, when they're on the ground, they're kicking them in the head like 50 times. There's none of that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's controlled, but also there's aggression, and also it does give the chance for the bully to possibly take out the bully, because they're technically on equal grounds in the sense of both gloves on, and they, like, go. You're fighting for 3 minutes, go. Whatever that might be. So there is, I do believe there is that kind of thing. That's kind of a, like the Native Americans in the country, like there were trials of, they had to go through things. They literally had to fight one another just for, to get that out. There was a knowledge that the young warriors need to, run in the field and throw mud at each other, whatever they're doing. But there's and I think in our society now is, and especially now that we're being actually locked in. Yeah. Because in a weird way, you think, oh, the dream is that I could just stay home all the time, and that would be totally cool, and I'd be on the computer and playing a lot of World of Warcraft and awesome. But the reality is like, shit, everybody's doing. I can't even go to the movies. I can't. Park is weird now. I have people wearing masks, and like, should I jog with a full-out mask? It's kind of hard to breathe. But anyways, there's all these kind of weird things going on now, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, are we not getting to, we are human animals, and our whole past is hunter gatherer.
Yeah.
Like pretty much is the start, the first how many 100,000 plus years till we got all hairless finally and everything. I mean, years since we got a taste for meat, we've been running and grabbing and making spears and rocks. Anyways, we make rocks, and that's what we did. It was the rock age, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do you feel that there's an element of our physical things not being, and then I guess also on the boxing thing or some kind of controlled, it almost has to be a fight, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, I'm no expert on this thing, and I feel that there's a trend out there that says no, yeah, men and women are all the same, and we could all just be peaceful from the beginning. And I just know too many men, and there is this aggression that they have, and especially because I was in the Army too, and I remember at 18 I signed up for the reserves, and we went. Cheers. We had bayonet training. Did you do bayonet training?
Yes, we did. for like 2 days. That's why I barely remember. Like, I ran with a thing and I stabbed
a short period of time,
a dummy.
What makes the grass grow green? Blood, drill sergeant, blood. And, they would have us shout these things with the thing. We're jabbing and swiping and all this stuff. And I just remember my whole body would just change. And I was like, that was the first time I ever felt, man, I could kill and I want to kill. Give me an enemy in front of me and I would just take him out, and I would love to see the blood come out. And it was a psychological thing. And then we're seeing these things and we're feeling these things and we're emotional. So, I mean, I definitely believe that boys, and probably girls too, I mean, it's, but boys have to have some kind of way to get this aggression out, which could be sports. And it could be creative. It could be woodworking or whatever. Something they're doing with their hands, and they're doing this thing because we men, we have this, especially at the ages of under 25. I think as we mature, we're like, oh yeah, well, whatever. I'm not gonna get involved in all that crap. But yeah, we have to talk to these kids, and when we find a bully. As an adult, we see a bully down there. We have to figure out some kind of outlet for this kid to get to get his vent his thing.
Yes.
Which could be, hey, let's get this kid into sports. But it also could be, hey, let's get this kid into a leadership position, and now we can have this authority that he so craves. But it's in a positive light. And the really great thing about this, and this is counterintuitive. You see some bully and you say, okay, I'm going to make you the classroom leader.
Yeah, right. The guy who just made everybody cry, you're going to lead everybody now. I'm going to go for a coffee break, so you teach the kids while I'm gone there.
But think about this, though. I know, but think about this now. Now this bully, he's given this feeling of authority, and that's what he craves. He wants to be in charge. He wants to be powerful.
Right.
But now he's being looked at from above and below. And
responsibility.
You have a task now. You have to get something done.
Right.
Maybe it's just moving these kids from here to the bathroom and back. But if you don't do that well, the teacher from the top down is going to judge you, and the kids from the bottom up is going to judge you. And this guy has got to get this thing done, and he's all of a sudden judging. And then as an adult, you can look at his leadership ability and say, hey, I saw what you were doing there.
Right.
What if next time you try it this way? What if you try it that way?
Accentuate the positive.
Start learning ways of controlling people, and a very positive thing. He gets the feeling of, oh yeah, and that's the kind of thing that could change everything. And boom. But it takes a teacher who is going to say, you're a bully, and I'm going to promote you to the top because you're a bully. Which just doesn't make sense. But, you know, some nerd from the third row who's the smartest kid in the class, but he's kind of shy and kind of weak, you want to put him as the class leader? You're not going to get anything done. Is that maybe that bully's the exact thing you need?
So there's a kind of aggression.
And then once he fails at that, then, okay, we can try something else.
Well, if I was to break down why boys might need something, wouldn't it just be basically right down to chemicals? Because our brain's basically a stew of chemicals that has electricity firing throughout, right? And different chemicals have a way of firing the electricity in different fashions or in different places.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
definitely believe all that. I just don't know it and understand it.
right,
And
but the way
can't say I'm an expert on
testosterone
it.
works is all right. So I'm taking testosterone shots, which I've been taking for over a year now. And before my testosterone shots, like maybe once every 3-4 weeks, I would, even think about sex or anything. You know what I mean? It was like really, I was kind of lethargic. I was a little down.
Mm-hmm.
And went to the doctor, and he was like, wow, I was like on the, the low scale of testosterone you should have. I was below that. And so then I started taking, so then I get testosterone shots. So right away, what you notice is the holy boners anytime you want, cool. And there's a bit of like, I can work out, let's work out. So this is a psychological thing that also happens. Like if I'm on testosterone, I might as well, utilize it to its most. So let's make some muscles then. Let's feed into, what that is, and go to the gym and exercise, and let's eat right a little bit more. And I'm going to have to get some sleep better because now, so all those things are ting, 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 like in a row for me. But I'm a little more upbeat and looking and doing that. And you got to know that testosterone, I guess you get your biggest dose when you go through puberty, but there is a big dose when you're in the development stage, and right up through those first years of when you soak everything in for the first 7 years, your brain's like soaking it all in. And God dang it. So because I think if you just break it down, it's like the males were always going out on these long hunts and very dangerous, and a lot of times they'd come back maimed or not alive at all. But it was dependent on the whole tribe, and everybody had to do their part. And that was just how the kind of natural way. But there's a certain strength that the men have because of that natural testosterone blowing through them. Mm-hmm. But not to say that the female part of the humans back then too were like fucking cut and amazing and like super strong. Also, could totally but they had different mindset. So they had like, there's kids. And there's a we need to make sure we got the milk. We didn't, you know what I'm saying? There was a certain, we need to keep this here. We can't go out there because we got other things to do.
The caveman ideology the caveman theory that it's still affecting us today, and it gets these roles of men and women, how women are nurturing, and they have a child and they have to protect the child, but the man doesn't have to protect the child, so he goes out and hunts. So she's learning about all these sensitive things and anticipating needs of the child, and that kind of transfers to the world. So we find women, and they're very nurturing, and that's a fantastic thing about them. And as men, we have that aggression because we're
facing down teeth that bite.
Yeah.
Friends that we see get killed.
You can't be hesitant.
Times where we thought we were going to die.
Yeah, you got to get it and hit it with everything you got and have massive aggression.
You're probably not going to live past 30. If you get to 25, you're lucky.
Yeah, and you kill the boar, and it's a celebration, and there's this victory. You feel great about it.
Right.
And everyone admires you because you took down the boar or worked
you're
on
feeding
that
the tribe. If you're the one who killed it, it's your great day. It's like the day you'll always remember when I killed that one specific animal and fed the tribe and made everybody, happy for one day.
Yeah. So now in the modern world, I can't imagine that instinct just goes away because I'm working at a computer.
Because we're animals, dude.
That pent up rage, and that's probably why, like you were saying, it's like if the average age was 25 as a caveman, well then after 25 we don't really need that, and that's this idea that under 25 we are. These kids are this massively aggressive things, and they want to kill. And which is why we're using 18-year-olds to send them off to war, which
Yeah.
really isn't fair.
I mean,
because
there's a reason why
kids
they're
that-
not recruiting 60 and 70-year-olds all over the place.
Yeah, it's-
Even though they'd probably be pretty goddamn, they'd shoot the gun pretty goddamn well. They just
Yeah.
don't move that fast, and they don't run into battle like they have nothing to live for. They have so much to live for. I got so much to live for. I mean,
yeah.
we would not be good warriors. We got a lot to live for. I got
Yeah,
my wife
well,
and a kid. What do you got? You got a wife?
I have a wife and 2 children.
Two
I
of
have
them.
a son who's 14-year-old son, and he's 13 years old. He's in high school,
Wow.
just starting first year of 9th grade.
Whoa.
And I have a 10-year-old daughter, and she's going into 5th grade.
Okay.
And great. And my wife, who I met online, and she's from Indonesia.
Whoa, dude, you got an Indonesian wife from meeting online.
Yeah.
So technology. So when I knew you in the 90s, you were dreaming of the day when technology would be good enough that you could get a wife from another side of the planet.
I just want to meet a girl without actually meeting a girl. That's what I needed.
Did you ever in your wildest
All of my
dreams
best
think
stuff,
that was...
words, type it out carefully, hit send when it's good, and then she doesn't have to smell me first, and oh yeah, it was brilliant.
I have never online dated. I missed it.
Wow.
I never did it. I think of the possibilities. There's so many things that would be crazy, wild, that you could Tinder up and just go nutballs.
Yeah.
But I missed the whole thing.
It was nothing like that back then with the Tinder and the I'm bored tonight. I'll go get a date tonight.
I got married in
we
2001.
met in Yahoo chat rooms, and we chatted for 2 years before we actually met, and just started out as friends, chit-chatting about all kinds of stuff.
All right, so you're chatting for 2 years. Can you name me the moment that you, after a chat, you were like, wow, this is better than whatever I thought?
Yeah.
You know, was there a moment? Was there a thing that you talked about? Was there a connection, that some similarity that she had to you that you were like, wow, this, or some kind of fascination that you had? Was there anything you can remember like that, like in essence?
Yeah, well, I think it was, we just started talking about like the values, like, well, what about raising kids? What do you think about that? What do you think about what's your role in society? What should we do for each other? That type of stuff. The core values.
That's intelligent, bro.
It's like, oh, okay, now I see we can go someplace. Just the fact that we could talk about that type of stuff was important. Whereas, a lot of other women would just be the trivialness of life, and they couldn't get that deep. So you start talking and get deep. It's like, oh yeah. Now, here's a mutual friend of ours is probably the reason I'm married today, Gideon Bailey. Remember that guy?
Gideon, yeah, I've talked with him recently. Maybe I'm going to contact him. Maybe he'll be my second guest.
Yeah, well,
write that down.
Way back when, I guess it was 20 years or so. I'm not sure. He was planning on getting married in Chicago, and he wanted me to be his best man, and I was like, oh, that's great. And I freaking hate weddings because it just cost me money, and I had to fly out to Chicago, take time off from work, and be there for my friend. Blah. Anyway, so all this money.
Gideon.
So I was hesitating to buy the ticket. I was like, oh yeah, okay. I put the money away. I had the money for the ticket, and then I put the time away. I said, okay, I'm not going to schedule anything during that time there, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be there for you. And then about the day before I was gonna buy my ticket, he calls me up and he says, "Did you buy your ticket yet?" I said, "No." Good. Don't buy the ticket. It's over. He wasn't getting married to that. He's found another wife, and they're extremely happy. And I was at that wedding, and luckily it was in Vegas and a lot closer. But anyway, back to my story.
Yes.
So now this is, it's in September of 2002. I guess it was, 2001 or 2002. And it was definitely September of 2002. I had the time put away, had the money put away, and I'm talking to this woman online from Indonesia, and I said, hey, I'm going to come see you. I've got the time, I've got the money, I'm going to come see you. And she was like, oh, okay. So I flew over to Jakarta, and we took our first another flight over to Bali. Spent a week in Bali, and you can't help but fall in love with a woman in Bali. Oh my God,
dude! Is it awesome? Is it as awesome as it is in right now in my fantasy mind?
Yes, it is. It is that awesome.
Really?
The beaches and the jungles and the people are so nice there. Oh my God, gotta go.
Really? Bali. Yeah. Bali.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
No worries.
Good. Yeah, my battery's at 20%, but I think we're gonna be fine.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So I'm trying to keep on time. I didn't start the stop clock, so this is second screw up. So, how long have we been doing right now?
I don't know. What time is it now? We started about 8:05.
8:05.
Did you hit the record button?
Yep, it's recording. No way, really? We've been. Oh my God, dude. Okay.
What time is it?
It's 11:16. Oh, wait a minute. 8. Yeah, we.
My
no.
Time is 8:05.
Right. So we gotta let's within like 20 minutes. So you have 20%. Let's do about 20 minutes. We'll bring it down. This is my first show, so I'm trying to. I really did get lost. I'm in that stuff. So time flies when you're talking about those things. All right, so just going on when you met. So when you get your ticket, when you finally decide to spring for it, you're going to be spending over $1,000 to go and do this thing. And you have talking, so it's basically like you've been sitting in her mind for 2 years in a way. And the only thing that you don't know is the actual physical. What are my eyes going to take in? How is my, smell and the sound? And will there be this thing that I've built in my brain? And so then when you go there and you get off the plane, was she there with a sign in the area, like Obadiah, like maybe with the clown and big shoes and then juggling? Obadiah?
No, well, she certainly didn't have that because she thought I was a doctor. But
no. I mean, Patch Adams, maybe you could be in the clown outfit, but a well-respected.
I'm a doctor and a lawyer, so let's keep that on the kibosh there.
Right.
My biggest fear was I was going to get off and I was going to see like 20 Indonesian women and they were all going to look alike and I wasn't going to be able to recognize her. It's like, what happens if I get off and I can't recognize her because she's with a bunch of other Indonesians?
Oh, right.
But no, I spotted her out right away. And she didn't have a sign, but I was so funny because she was.
You'd nervous. Seen her online so much, you knew exactly what she was going to look different than everybody else.
Saw pictures.
Because you're going to a society that's pretty, and I'm use a big word here that I think I'm using right, genetic, whereas a lot of the people are of those same people, like their ancestors are, their family tree isn't necessarily as like all over the world. It's more like from the area. So therefore, there's a lot of people that have a very similar look to a certain height. There's a certain hair color. There's a certain
I know about Indonesia now.
style.
I've been there about 5 times now.
Okay.
Yes. Number one, there are a lot of Indonesians, and they have a specific look about them, and and it's very thing. However, as far as being homogenous, is that the word?
Maybe. Yeah.
Anyway, that word there.
Homogenated.
Indonesia is made up of 17,000 islands.
Right.
17,000 islands. Indonesia means actually a variety of islands. Polynesia means many islands. Indonesia means a variety of islands. But Indonesia has more islands than Polynesia. It has more islands than any other country in the world. It's on the equator. But they speak 300 different languages, not dialects, languages in Indonesia. A lot of these different islands built up. It's 90% Muslim, but they definitely have Catholics. They have a lot of Chinese immigrants. They have a lot of Chinese and Indonesians have mixed and become that branch off there. They were controlled by Dutch people for think 300 years they were controlled by the Dutch.
The
So there's a lot
Dutch,
of
man.
Dutch and Indonesian mixes there, and
They were all
the blood.
involved in some nasty shit. They were in slavery, like the first ones. They were they were involved in the drug trade, and oh man, those guys got their fingers into all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in South Africa right now.
Yeah.
That's South Africa. That's all emanate from that. Those guys were pretty damn aggressive for being Dutch. You know, you don't hear about them at all now. But back then, like, dude, fear would be what the Dutch were gonna come and try and do.
Yeah.
They were aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, you just think, oh, he's a Dutch guy. He's very nice. But yeah, as a culture, yeah, they've got something.
Well, they
going
got some
on.
history. They got some
Individual
aggressive
Dutch
history.
people are very nice, and cheers to the Dutch.
Right.
But
Well, what a great little. You said it's like 1,000 islands, or there's 300 different languages. What a wild experiment that is in humanity, because you got to imagine the first ones that ever got to those islands had to leave the mainland. So whoever, you know, that traveled out of Africa, because basically I'm under the theory that basic humanity humans grew out right out of Africa and then spread, because, you know, you can, once people start getting too crowded, like, dude, I gotta leave, you know, like, I'm hunter-gatherer somewhere else. You guys are eating everything over here, you know, whatever. But that's how it just branched out, and it took thousands and thousands of years. And then by the time they reach those islands, that's also thousands and thousands of years, right? And so then they're spreading out from each other. And so when they might have had at the very beginning a common language, now with the separation of these islands, it's not like you can just, you know, hop a helicopter real quick, or you're going to get on a speedboat and we're going to go visit the island in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It's an effort. So we'll just stay here in this island, and then the language just sort of morphs and changes, and it becomes different. And now you have basically, oh wow, it's this area that has 300 different groups that just changed shit and made it different.
Yeah.
That's wild, dude.
It's a fascinating culture. Yeah, I grew up just like learning American history, but then when I go over there, it's like, oh wow, this is really fascinating. And then I kind of realized, I bet every country is fascinating. Is that possible? Yeah. Of course.
In its way, it's fascinating. I mean, no matter what you're at, even if it's most violent or most radiated, or whatever kind of wacky places there are on this earth, there's always something interesting. It's just, I guess if I was to say what you're looking for in other humans, if you're being with and around them, I mean, is you want people valuing other humans, and also being able to, get the bystanders to see the wrongs and stop it, nip it in the bud, and be consistent on that. We get so shy as a society that we won't say anything about bullying. We won't say anything about maybe even especially with their own family being the bullies. Like, what are you going to do then, huh? You know what I mean? When it's like all hidden and shit, what do you do? And, you know, bystander can't reach that. But I guess we want a world where everybody's, I don't know, man. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice-ish.
Well,
do the right thing.
We're at the verge of it. It's going to be generational. It's hard to change one generation from one thing to another, but the generations that are coming up, the kids that are coming up, I think they're into a whole beautiful new world where they have all these opportunities, all these voices, and of course, I really believe that the more we talk, whether it's Facebook or whether it's on TV or whether it's communicating with podcasts and things like that, the more we talk, the more ideas of things. And I really believe that the better ideas are always going to rise to the top, and the worst ideas are going to be exposed for the frauds they are. And those are going to drop down, and people realize, I mean, how many things have I learned as an adult? I'm like, oh, I always believed that other thing, and it was completely utterly stupid and wrong. Like I remember believing for years that this is a stupid thing, but the Great Wall of China, and I was told this is the only human thing that can be seen from outer space. It's so big, and it's not even true at all. It's completely a lie for two reasons. One, there's lots of things that humans have made.
Yeah, especially like New York.
And the Great Wall of China, you can't see from outer space. It's too thick because there's lots of rivers that are wider. So the thing that they often show from outer space is actually a river through China. Anyway,
you can almost see too much humanity on Earth from outer space when you look down now. It's even somebody with a strong flashlight. You go, hey, there's another more humanity down there, fucking up the quiet of night with all their lights and noise and.
You see the lights from outer space. I don't know why somebody would even say the phrase. That the Great Wall of China is the only thing you can see from outer space, and everybody's just like, oh, okay, I guess you're right. I don't know.
That's true, man.
Now, because of all this communication and more people that's talking, I was like, oh, that's reality.
So, that's an interesting one. Let me think of something I thought as a kid that is completely not true. Because I know there's a bunch of things. Just I don't know what one can really register. So because you always have one something that you had. Yeah. Well, you totally thought
Vikings with their the big horns on the Vikings helmets.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I thought, Vikings wear helmets with horns on it. It's like, no, they don't, because number one, they're running through forest, and that's the worst thing you could have on your head if you're trying to run through a forest.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the Wagner, which was writing operas about Vikings, and the director at the time said, you need a hat. Oh, that's an ugly hat. Put some big giant horns on the hat.
Yes.
So in opera, and that's where it came from.
Bugs Bunny dressed as one of those.
Great on stage. I was like, yeah.
Bugs Bunny was one with little horns on, playing a girl, but in the opera.
Wrong things, that damn bunny.
Yeah, well, you're being fooled there, like on that one. Yeah, I mean, like, well, I believed that for a few years, I don't know how it was put in me, but somebody said it, like hell was like a real thing. Like I took things literally when I was a little kid. I don't know if that was because I'm on the spectrum for Asperger's or something, because I know my grandpa had Asperger's, if we were to side diagnose him, but. Now that it took me till 50 to realize I had ADD, and then since then I've been like looking at all these weird psychological things. Like, no way, is that why they do that? How is that affecting that? And so I overdo it sometimes just because hyper focusing on it. But shit, man. Yeah, I used to believe that hell was like there, like I was watching, like God was watching my every step, and we didn't even go to church or anything. But I remember. It was scary. Like he's scared. It was like a bully feeling. Like, oh no, he's there again. I wake up. Oh shit, he's watching me.
Let me tell you a story about me as a kid with a bully and dealing with God. So I remember I was, I think, third grade, and I'm playing with friends first. Mm-hmm. First part of the story is I'm playing with friends. Something happens. I hurt myself, and I said, "God damn it!" And then I felt, oh no, I used the Lord's name in vain.
You did. I knew that one too.
Guilty, and I felt horrible. I was like, oh no, I can't believe I said no. And I went to sleep that night just stewing, and it's like, I can't believe I used the Lord's name in vain. That's bad.
Yes, blasphemy. Hellbound you were. In that moment, if you'd have died that night, straight to hell.
It's over. I gotta do something. I gotta save my soul.
Repent.
I can't die. I mean, maybe I can.
No, stay alive long enough to get forgiveness. Yeah.
I can forgive it by Thursday. I can die on Friday a happy kid.
Right.
In fifth grade. So the very next day, I'm on the bus, and we coming home from school, and we had made little signs for ourselves for some stupid reasons. I don't know. They put it, and then of course they hold it on with a piece of yarn that goes around. So I'm walking down here with my little sign, and there's a third grader. I'm so proud of myself for whatever the hell it was. And this bully says, "Nice sign." He grabs the yarn and he pulls it. I think he was trying to rip it off, but what happened was the yarn ripped around my neck.
Oh no!
And it gave me this big giant burn. I mean, you can see it. It was just welted up, burned. And I sat down. So of course I said, "This is God's punishment for saying God damn yesterday."
Whoa!
Saying God damn.
God did that to you. Oh. What an asshole God is if He's gonna burn your neck for that.
No. Yeah, I'm thinking about this. I was like, God punished me for sinning. It's like, that was really mean of God.
Right.
I didn't mean to say God damn. I mean, it was just a mistake. Why can't He just forgive me? I thought He was supposed to forgive me.
Yeah, and He reads your mind too.
and then at that moment, I was really started thinking, well, I mean, is there even a God? I mean,
Whoa.
if we're gonna act like that, and then I mean, and at that point, I was like, there's no God. I mean, this is
What?
how life is. I literally third grade. I
A
was like,
bully knocked the belief in God out of you?
yeah, it knocked,
Wow, that guy must have been tough.
world around me,
I never.
and it just knocked the belief of God out of me.
Jeez, that would be something. Instead of the daylight say, I'm going to knock the belief of God out of you.
That's a hell of a bully, man.
It came true. This dude's. Wow, I didn't. Because that kid, he gave me stars, but he didn't knock the daylights out of me. But this kid, oh, that's awesome.
So for years and years, I mean, I was the hardcore atheist and a militant atheist. Like if anybody would ever even bring up God, I was like, well, what about this point? What about that point? What about this point?
Right.
And somewhere along the line, I'm like, you know what? These Christians are good people. Maybe they should just do what they want to do, and I shouldn't sit around trying to prove them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started looking at some other things like, well, I guess there could be a God. I mean, it may not be the biblical God. It may not be this thing we learned about in church with all these rules and stuff, but you know, the possibility. So anyway, I've gone through this whole roundabout way of getting where I am today, but it all started with this bully on the bus and the yarn.
Wow. That's awesome. Obadiah, all right, so here's how we're going to wrap this up because I like it. I like it right there. But let's go back on the wisdom. So the wisdom parts that I think need to be applied is that, all right, so the wise things are one, not to be a bully. To know what that is. Know that you are being a bully.
Yeah.
So don't be driven by your nature or your emotion or something, and realize get yourself in the moment and realize what you are saying and what the impact might be, because everybody's taking it a different way, right?
Yeah.
And also the thing is, then if you're a bystander and you see something, say something, but it isn't that easy. But if you're a smart bystander, there's always a way. There's a note that you can leave, a thing that you can somehow, some way there can be an alert to something. If it's within your own family and stuff, well, it's like, whoa. But aside from all that, that's a lot to take in. So just going on another thing, I do like that you're doing this, man. I'm very happy for you. I very much like that you're on this path now. This thing I didn't know what to expect, but that is very good news. I was taking it as bad news, your 400 gigs were gone, but now this is probably a weird a godsend in a way.
This could be so much bigger for us. So we could reach all across America and maybe around the world.
And do a good thing is ultimate. Your heart is in it and it's good. You feel good about it, right? You're putting love in it. You're putting your emotion into it. You're investing every piece of wise thing that you know, and you're trying to apply it in the best possible way without basically, being controversial, stepping over lines. Because I know in today's society, there's a lot of landmines that you do have to avoid. If you present the bully or the victim in some certain way, you're like, hey, what about those other? Because the wild thing about humanity is there's so many different ways of looking at the world. And then and on top of that, if you look at nowadays, most people, like adulty people, are on drugs all the time. They're doing something. They're either prescription or doing aspirins too much, whatever, they're caffeine. And so everybody's doing like a lot of chemicals are going into our bodies right now. So our decisions are not clear, I think, sometimes, is because, barely just started getting back to the gym and, being able to work out our temples. But I really like that you've gone on this path, and there's a certain sort of greater purpose that you've actually, because your purpose before, going to schools and entertaining and doing that's awesome. And then just you doing stand-up, making people laugh. And all your everything that you do. But now that you're going to, you actually, yeah, it's a noble thing on the side of like Mr. Rogers-y kind of stuff,
Yeah.
And you're doing that, and so I'm very, very, very happy. Like that's the one of the. I mean, even though you're my only one I've done this with right now, it's the best news I've heard so far.
Fantastic.
This is wonderful.
Well, right back at you. I think this new venture you have is going to be awesome. You're a good interviewer who's can get at the heart and dig down a little deeper, rather than that trivial stuff on top.
Well, I know that there's a lot more to talk about in the future, and I would like to talk to you again in the future about, because I think I've got a rapport with you enough to know that I think we could go down most any roads, especially now that you're talking about you're branching out in this way and learning about, what makes us tick, basically, and what could be some solutions to get us to, I don't know, just be better.
Yeah.
And so you're looking to better humanity through the people who need it the most and at the ages they needed it the most. So you're doing an awesome thing. This is like, should be a little halo above your head. Maybe I'll edit that in post.
I'm just a guy.
Put some angel wings on you.
Just doing my thing. Just trying to make the world 1% better.
And you know what? It's good for your psyche. And it's good for your wife, and it's for your kids, because if you're doing it, if you're truly loving it, and you're truly thinking you're doing a good job and making a difference, that's what really matters, and that will shine out from you because you're satisfied. Now, if you just lost all your gigs and you were at home right now and you were smoking a cigarette and there'd been, just like your place was trash and, like, then that would be terrible. But you've used your mind, you've used your talents, you've found your niche, because that's what you got to do. You got to think outside the box these days, and that's what you've done. And I love that. I love it. I mean, I hope people buy. I hope people buy it. And I do want to talk to you about one. Maybe make one, and we'll look at it next time. Maybe just for fun or whatever. I'm eternally the child in me wants to see how you're gonna, help me out.
I'm gonna send you some links as soon as we're done here.
Yeah,
I'll get you some links and show you the videos we've made and the direction we're going.
Dude, thanks a lot, man. Obadiah, there's so much we got. The improv, dude. Forget about it. So definitely have to do another one because I do want to talk comedy with you. I got some ideas. I'm going to throw them at. Maybe we'll write a sketch.
Oh, yeah.
All right?
All
right, Obadiah.
That would be fantastic.
Is there anything that you want to promote or anything like that? The series that we're starting is called Start with Heart. And if there's anybody who knows a teacher out there who would like to try this out for free for a month, it's called Start with Heart. And they can find out more at razzlebamboom.com. And or check me out on Facebook. I'm Obediah Thomas. I think there's only 6 of us. Okay.
Obediah Thomas on there. But,
send me that through email, and I will put it on the YouTube page and the podcast page or whatever. However, the
website is razzlebamboom.com.
Razzlebamboom.
It is Obadiah at razzlebamboom.com. razzlebamboom.com.
Okay, and then I'll write that up and get that posted online. Thanks, man. Thanks for being on the first show. Yeah, I hope I guess we stayed close to time, so so far so good, right?
Cool.
And
that was great.
It was good talking again. And from you doing good, I'm going to take that and I'm going to be more productive today, at least. And take that energy that you just gave me. All right?
Take charge, man.
And you take that bully story to the bank and don't bully any kids and rub their heads on the sidewalk. All right, Obadiah, I'll text you here and there and I'll let you know. I think I might just surprise drop this next Tuesday. I'm just going to drop it. I have no confidence anybody's ever going to watch any of these things, so that's all part of the low self-esteem bullied thing. So, and I'm also going to turn off the comments on YouTube, and if you want to contact me, you got to email me. Because I just, who cares? You know what? Nobody says anything really profound It's rare.
Yeah.
Everybody's just talking about, look at his tooth. You know, like, oh, Jesus Christ. I bit my nails too much. I overdid it. All right. Well, anyways, Obediah Thomas.
Darren Bodek.
I will talk to you again about our relationship. I can't wait. All right, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Cool. All right. See you, man.
All right. Take care. Bye. That's it, and it's me. All right. Well, this is the first show. What? Did it fizzle at the end? Maybe. But yeah, I liked it. I hope you like it. All right. So then, what? We'll see. I'm going to build it up slowly. It's been hell trying to get this going. I blame ADD a little bit. It does get me distracted. I get distracted. I go down, and I have no drill sergeant in my head saying, do it, wake up early, go to the gym now, get your podcast, learn how to do OBS, figure out Zoom better, look at your dials, where's your... Anywho, this has been Search for Wisdom. I think I got a little wiser. I got to process this. Because I did have a flashback. The PTSD. So I should do trigger warning for anybody who's been bullied. Right? Yeah. Don't we all get bullied? Isn't the person who's running things the bully? That the person who can see bullies. I know there's a bully running things right now. Bully. And he's one that would so cry if it would benefit him somehow. But he can't cry because there are no tears. And where there are no tears, there are no cries. All right, this has been Search for Wisdom Within the Madness. I paid $25 for this song, so let's play it again. And it's the end of the show. All right, thanks for listening this far and seeing what was going on. And hopefully I didn't edit too much of this. I don't think I will. I just guess that takes a long time to do. And, yeah, $25. I paid for the song. I don't know what, is mystical music should I put on here? Or should I put on some kind of like a jazzy boppity boop thing? And I was like, you know what, for some reason, I love the tone of the metal guitar. Listen to this. Play two guitars at once. Anyways, searching for wisdom within that. So I hope you found some wisdom today, or at least were entertained. Didn't think of the situation that's going on in the world right now in 2020, late summer 2020. My name's Darren Bodecker. This show will evolve and change. If you want to email me at sfwwmadness, the full word, at gmail.com. But there ain't going to be no comments because, if you really want to talk to me, we'll talk through email, and then maybe I'll call you or we'll do some other things. I'll become wiser because of what you said. Comments don't, I feel, make me much wiser because they're so snippy and there's a whole other audience. So if you want to talk, I'm sorry, I did pitch. Did I sell you $25? So if you do want to talk to me, sfwwmadness at gmail.com. And then you can talk about bullies. We can talk about whatever. We could even, somebody I know that you could come and we'll talk and tell stories. I know I talked a little much. This first one is be self-critical. Should I be self-critical on the first one? Oh, that's the end of the song. I better just end the show right there. Okay. So, thanks. I'll probably edit this out. And The end.